And the coin toss has been won by the Golden Knights, it appears. Referee Ben Hack is explaining their options.
You should really be on his sides, on the other side.
And
They wanted to defer.
the Golden Knights have deferred to Eastchester. Eastchester has elected to receive. And the Golden Knights will be kicking off to start the first half.
West and east. West side of the field.
The Eagles will receive the opening kickoff. Kickoff defending the goal nearest the White Plains Road.
Met the people from Nanuet. They drove down it. That's good, Alfie. Where you get it? They got the ball. They didn't even get the ball. They didn't even bring the ball out.
Okay. Don't be shy.
59.
Okay. Kicking off for Nanuet will be number 59, Tom Furlong. Normally plays guard. Going back deep for the Eagles are Mark Williams and Henry Butch Burroughs and Mickey Morgan. 3 men deep for Eastchester.
Also back to receive the kickoff.
Furlong's kick down to the 18. Williams carrying the ball back out to about the 32, about a 15-yard return.
Back to the Eagles. 34-yard line.
Tackles made by Mike Hussey and Rob Spilatras.
Tackle made by Rob Spilatras and Mike Hussey from Nanuet.
Looks like everybody's having trouble with that name, but I understand that guy is their star, Spilatras.
Number 7 is the quarterback.
Lawrence Esposito at quarterback for the Eagles, calling signals. Hand off to Butch Burroughs around the outside.
10, 15.
All the way to the Eastchester 49-yard line. 15-yard gain.
It looks like Eastchester switched things up in the first series. Williams didn't start at tailback. Burroughs started at tailback with Morgan at the fullback and Zingaro at the two-back. And I think Nanuet was expecting a little bit more up the middle, which has been kind of Eastchester's offensive trademark, and they went to the outside and got some good yardage.
Tell her to save it for my daughter. She'll be here.
Still in the same lineup. Zingaro in motion. And we have a little movement. It looked like it was the right end for Eastchester. And we'll have an illegal procedure penalty for 5 yards. I'll make it 1st and 15. Reporting in for his first play is Mark Williams for the Eagles. Oliver Lee is coming out.
43-yard line.
Okay.
Now it's the Eagles 3-yard line. One side,
Burroughs wide to the left, Zingaro wide to the right. Esposito's pitch out is to Morgan.
Morgan carries the Eagles.
52 and 45.
Morgan dropped by
Tackle made by
Joe Baronero and Rob Spilatra.
Well, they try and make it tough for you, give you the 2 most difficult names to pronounce on that first play, Len.
Hopefully we'll get them right before the end of the day.
Get on the line faster when he can run a play. Look, if you're not even set.
2nd down and 14. Zingaro wide left. Lee wide to the right. Esposito's handoff to Williams, and he is dropped into a very small gain by Rich Butler.
Butler of Nanuet. Gain of about a yard on the play.
Pete, what can we expect from Eastchester on 3rd and long?
Well, I think for sure they're going to put the ball up in the air. They've been a little bit conservative the first couple weeks, and they tend to open it up in the second half. But this is Nanuet. They've only given up 1 touchdown. It's a very, very big game. So they're going to let everything go early, and I expect them to put it up soon.
All right, we have timeout on the field.
Quitman timeout.
That's an official's timeout. They're fixing the headgear on one of the players for the Golden Knights. So far, we have 9 minutes and 32 seconds left in the first quarter, and there's no score.
Okay, here from me, yeah.
Third down and 12 for the Eagles. Burrows wide right. Esposito back to pass. And we've got a flag. Esposito running with the ball. And he goes out of bounds around the 46-yard line of Nanuet, which will be well short of a first down. But we do have a flag on the play. And it looks like Ralph Zingaro is hurt at this time. He's limping off the field for the Eagles.
That's 4 linebackers and 3 feet.
Now we have timeout because of the injury, while the officials discuss the penalty with Nanuet.
In the action, we can tell you that the other League 3A games today feature Byram Hills. As we mentioned, they're number 1 in Westchester, Rockland, and number 3 in the state, undefeated, and they play against Peekskill. Peekskill has a record of 3-1. With 3 shutouts since their opening day loss to the Eagles. The other games, Pelham and Westlake, and in the battle of the winless, Ardsley and Edgemont, as the Eagles are penalized. And we get back to the action. Here's Len Inzio.
Okay. Eastchester is faced with a 3rd and 30 backed up on their 28-yard line. Pete, any miracle plays to get 30 yards on 3rd down?
I don't think so. On that last play with the penalty, Nanuet secondary seemed to be in a zone, and that's going to give Eastchester the biggest trouble, zone defense in the secondary.
Okay, Zingaro is out because of that injury. Lee split wide to the right, Burrows to the left, Esposito in a quarterback. Esposito back to pass, and deflected by number 53, Rich Butler. Ball was intended for Butch Burrows. All right, the Eagles back in punt formation, 4th down. Back to kick the ball is Burrows. Bad snap, he gets rid of the ball. Fair catch called by number 41. TJ Ford fumbled, picked up by Denny's Lasada. So it'll be first down for the Golden Knights on their 46-yard line.
73 down.
The kicking game is also should come into play here real big. Eastchester has an excellent kicking game with Butch Burrows and Zingaro. Before the game, I saw Nanuet's punter, and he seemed to be booming them. That you don't see that much in high school football. An excellent kicker like that, and that'll tend to give the receivers a little bit of a tough time.
Kick them backwards.
Denny's Lozado, the fellow who recovered the fumble, is the quarterback. Handoff to number 41, TJ Ford. Goes over the right side for a gain of about 3 or 4.
54 and 77.
Brought down by Vinny Caparasso and Robert DeLeo in on the tackle for Eastchester. Lozada still a quarterback. Hand off to the fullback, hitting the middle, Chris Kiernan.
77 and 75.
Then Caparasso and Chris Hayes in on the tackle, stopping him. It'll be 3rd down and about 3.
The Nanuet backs aren't too shy getting to the hole. They get up there in a hurry, and if the Eastchester linebackers don't shed their blocks and get into those holes, it could be a long day. Nanuet they're noted. Their running backs have always been tough, strong, hard-nosed kids.
Nanuet splitting out 2 receivers for the first time. TJ Ford carrying the play. Stopped at about the line of scrimmage by Chris Hayes, Chris McCrory, and Vin Caparasso. Now, you may have heard Vin Caparasso's name before. He's been in on all 3 tackles in that series. Be 4th down for the Golden Knights. And about 3, and they're in punt formation. In at nose guard for Eastchester, DJ Inzio.
Morgan Burrow back.
Morgan Burrow back for the Eagles. High kick. They let it go over their head and into the end zone. Will be a touchback. Eastchester will get on 20.
Also have a flag on.
Flag on the play down around about the 20-yard line. Don't know what the reason is. Looks like it's against Eastchester. Preliminary indication. That'll be credited as a 46-yard punt, having gone all the way into the end zone.
We remind you, you're watching Eastchester Government Access TV, Cable 35. I'm Jerry Fishoff. Len Inzio bringing you the play-by-play with Pete Arciello on the commentary. And now back to Len Inzio.
We're happy to announce that today
We have 6 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first quarter. And there's no score at this point in time. Because of the penalty, Nanuet will pick up a first down, and they will put the ball in play on the Eastchester 31-yard line. 1st and 10.
It's at least Thursday and Friday.
Holding time.
All days.
Joe, how can they get the ball?
Ralph Zangaro's back in the game for the Eagles, so apparently that injury wasn't too serious.
The reason why Nanuet got the ball back was because possession never changed hands. So while the ball was in the air, Nanuet was still officially on offense, and Eastchester was on defense, and it was a push to the back, a personal foul, and since the ball didn't change hands, that's automatic first down.
Okay, that's why we have Pete here. He knows all the rules.
It's unbalanced.
Unbalanced right, and TJ Ford stopped behind the line of scrimmage, but there is a penalty flag on the field.
72 and 76.
Tackles by Joe Chaffone and Ray Flood for the Eagles. And we've got holding against Nanuet. Co-captain Mickey Morgan discussing the penalty and accepts the holding penalty. That'll be a 10-yarder. Push the Golden Knights back, so they'll put the ball in play with a 1st down and 20 from the Eagle 43-yard line.
The Eastchester defensive line is doing a great job so far in the first quarter. Vinny Caparasso and Joey Chavone and Chris McCrory and Ray Flood, they've just gotten across the line of scrimmage. They're getting good penetration. That's been the difference. Nanuet hasn't been able to get anything going.
Okay, Nanuet back up to the line, and it looks like they're unbalanced to the right once again. Losada back to pass, throws it up, and picked off by Eastchester, Andrew Petrillo. Excellent interception, ball on the 27-yard line. And Mike Bohan making the tackle for the Golden Knights. Big turnover for Eastchester.
Yeah, that was, like I said about 2 minutes ago, that's all created by the defensive line. They get good penetration. Lozada should never put the ball up, and that's why it was picked off.
Okay. We have a little over 5 minutes left to play in the first quarter, and we have no score at this point in time. Butch Burrows lining up wide to the right for Eastchester. Esposito's handoff to Williams, stopped at the line of scrimmage by Rob Spilatris.
From the 27, 2nd and 10.
Mike Malone goes into the game for the Eagles. Eagles going slot left. Fake to Williams. Esposito rolling out, but he is dropped for a big loss by Tom Furlong.
58.
And Mike Hussey in to help with the sack.
On the play, Esposito.
Eastchester will be facing a 3rd and 22.
Although Esposito hasn't been able to get the ball up in the air, I don't think it's really due to the defensive line of Nanuet or their linebackers, although they are getting good penetration. The fact that number 10 for Nanuet, who is listed as a quarterback, Chris Anisi, is just playing double coverage on the split end, and that's taking away the whole passing game.
Thank you, Pete.
33.
Butch Burrows going up the middle. Stopped by Rob Spilatris and TJ Ford. Gain of about 4, well short of the first down, and then Eastchester will go into punt formation. This will be their second punt of the game.
33 is kicking.
Darrow to pick for the Eagles. TJ Ford got 3-13 at the punt.
The standings in League 3A, Eastchester on the top of the heap and tied with Byram Hills, both 4-0. Nanuet, whom you're seeing out there, the Golden Knights are 3-1 and 1 game back, and Peekskill, whom Eastchester beat in their first game and who has not allowed a touchdown since then, is also 3-1. Pelham 1-2, Westlake 1-3, Edgemont 0-3, Ardsley 0-4. Back to Len Inzio.
Burrows back to kick, gets the kick off, back deep, signaling for a fair catch, TJ Ford, and he takes the ball in on the 44-yard line of Nanuet.
Nanuet must have detected something in films during the week, because on 2 Eastchester punts, they've come with the block both times already. That time they almost got to Burrows. Burrows put on a pretty good act going down, and looked like the referee almost went into his pocket for the flag, but Nanuet may get to one of these punts before the day's out.
Eastchester Eagle cheerleaders, led by Patty Handel. Our director and producer and cameraman Mike Morgan focusing in on them as we go back to the action. No score in the game.
Golden Knights in that unbalanced line run against it. Run to the short side. Chris Kiernan carrying the ball. Tackled by Ralph Zingaro.
I think the bigger, stronger Eastchester defensive line is just totally manhandling Nanuet's offensive line, and that's been the difference. They haven't been able to get anything going, and it's just because they can't get by the defensive line.
All right, we have 2nd and 8 now for the Golden Knights. Hey, split receivers both to the left and the right. Man in motion. Fake to the fullback, pitch out to TJ Ford, and he's dropped behind the line of scrimmage by Chris McCrory, the defensive end for the Eagles.
That's something that John DeArco's worked on all week, playing against the option. They had a little tough time with that up at Westlake. They got a couple things going with the option, and John worked on that tough this week. First time Nanuet runs it, Mickey Morgan comes up from a linebacker and really puts it on Lozado, who just got the pitch off.
Well, they certainly had that play covered. It'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Golden Knights. Once again, they split out men wide to the right and the left. Lozada back to pass. He's running with the ball and dropped after about a 1-yard gain.
Slow getting up.
Both of them are down. 85.
Ralph Zingaro in on the tackle. And we can't tell the other player, but the 2 players who made the tackle are both on the sidelines hurt there. They apparently made more contact with each other than with the ball carrier.
Okay, we want to remind you of some upcoming events in the town. The Instructional Basketball League. This is new. It's sponsored by Eastchester Recreation and Parks for girls and boys in the 4th, 5th, and 6th grades living in Eastchester, Bronxville, and Tuckahoe. Registration is at Eastchester High School Gymnasium. That's at Stewart Place in Eastchester. That's where we are. On Monday, October 24th, and Tuesday, October 25th, 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. For more information, call John Finnegan, the director, at 779-7726. And that's the new Instructional Basketball League, sponsored by Eastchester Recreation and Parks. Again, the dates: Monday, October 24th, Tuesday, October 25th. Registration from 7:30 to 9:30. While we have a break in the action, we can also tell you about Youth in Government Day, November 17th. All junior and senior high school students in Eastchester and Tuckahoe are invited to take over the government take over the town government, contact Town Hall Youth Council. Call Bunny Rappaport over there, 793-5800. And by the way, if you take over the government, the other benefit is you will be excused from regular school, and that's open to all junior and senior high school students. They never did that for us, Lenny. Lenny's laughing his head off at that one.
I think that's absolutely terrific. Okay, the other player who was shaken up on that was Ray Flood, but he seems to be okay now. Eastchester has Burrows and Morgan back to return the punt.
59.
The kick is by number 59, Tom Furlong. Excellent kick back to the Eastchester 5, and Burrows slips down around the 6-yard line, so Eastchester will start 1st and 10 on their 6. Excellent punt there.
Yeah, we mentioned that before, that both punters really do a great job. They get the ball real high, get their coverage men down there. But on that play, it's kind of questionable. I don't know if Burrows should have fielded that inside the 10, because the last one went in the end zone. He kicks it with the point coming down, which is the way you want to kick a ball in a spiral, and 9 times out of 10 you're going to get it just go end over end right into the end zone.
All right, Eastchester will be putting the ball into play with about 50 seconds left in the first quarter, and we have no score. Most teams will line up their punt return men on the 10-yard line and tell them if the ball is over their head, let it go. And we saw that on the first punt for Eastchester, but Burrows probably figured he had some running room, was going to try to take it out. Unfortunately, he slipped. Okay, Eastchester splits men wide left Burrows and wide to the right Lee. Handoff to Morgan up the middle for very little gain. Stopped by Rich Butler and Mike Hussey.
And Mike Hussey of the Golden Knights.
Mike Marone going in on offense for the Eastchester Eagles, and that's the end of the first quarter with the score Eastchester Eagles 0 and the Golden Knights of Nanuet 0.
You're watching Eastchester Government Access TV 35. Back to the action with the Eagles way back with their backs against the wall and Len Inzio.
All right, 2nd down and 8. The ball on the Eastchester 9-yard line. Lawrence Esposito in a quarterback for the Eagles. And we have a quarterback sneak up the middle.
5 yards.
Esposito picked up 5 yards before being stopped by Rich Butler. And excellent blocking in there by Luciano to help the quarterback get Eastchester out of the hole. 3rd down and about 4.
The toughest thing seems to be for all these kids who are playing both ways to transmit that energy from defense to offense. They're doing a great job on defense on the line, and offense, neither team is doing really anything.
3rd down and 4 for the Eagles. Handoff to Butch Burrows going around the outside. Excellent fake. And Butch is forced out of bounds around the Eagle 36-yard line.
18.
Lozada, the quarterback for the Golden Knights, made the stop. And Butch Burrows picked up 18 yards on that play. Isn't that the same play he picked up 15 to begin the game, Pete?
Yeah, the first play of the game. And like I said, Eastchester, in the past weeks, they've tried to establish that running game tackle to tackle, and it looks like they're getting away from that and they're getting some success. And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Williams getting loose on the outside a couple times.
Andrew Petrillo has just reported in on offense. He's the fellow who had that big interception for the Eagles in the first quarter, lining up at right end for the Eagles.
33.
Esposito's handoff to Burrows up the middle, picks up about 5 yards, stopped by TJ Ford and Joe Baranero. I'll get that name right eventually. 2nd down and 5 for the Eagles.
So far, the game of the week has been a good luck charm for Eagles. Of course, the football team is undefeated in the 2 soccer matches we did. The Eagles also won.
Yeah, we'll get right back to the soccer in a mention to talk about the team a little bit. Mike Marone splitting wide right for the Eagles.
Keeper.
Fake to Zingaro.
5, 7, 15, 20.
And Esposito is out of bounds on the 36-yard line of the Golden Knights. A 19-yard gain. Knocked out of bounds by Mike Mohan. The Eastchester Eagles soccer team is having a successful season. They've won 5 of their last 7 games, losing only to Edgemont and Pelham, who are 2 of the best teams in the state. Pelham so far undefeated and ranked very high in the state at this point in time. The Eagles have a very good chance of making the playoffs, and we look forward to that in November. Maybe we'll get to broadcast a playoff game for you. Okay, 1st and 10 for the Eagles on the 39-yard line in Nanuet.
22.
Handoff to Mark Williams, trying to go to the outside and dragged down by Rob Spilatris.
That play just never got going for Eastchester. They've been real successful getting to the outside, and I think the reason for that is Nanuet's trying to double up on the split ends, and it's leaving them a little bit shy on the corners, and once they get by that defensive end, it's just grass to the end zone.
All right, 2nd down and about 10 for the Eagles.
Eagles have 68 yards so far on the ground in 8 plays.
Handoff to Williams, going up the middle, picks up about 2 or 3 yards. Stopped by Joe Baranera. And getting in on the tackle also Rob Gallagher. We have about 9 minutes and 20 some odd seconds to go here in the 2nd quarter of a scoreless game between the Eastchester Eagles and the Nanuet Golden Knights. Mike Marone splitting wide to the right for the Eagles. Esposito fakes the handoff, goes off tackle himself, picks up about 5 yards. Stopped by Gallagher and Rob Spilatris. Eagles have a 4th down and 4. Pete, what would you be looking for the Eagles to try and do here?
Well, I would think they try to either run that option, something to get to the corner, to get around those defensive ends. Either option, maybe a blast play just off tackle. Funny thing about Eastchester's running game, Mark Williams, who's had I think 3 or 4 100-yard games, has 4 carries for 3 yards so far.
Okay, 4th down and 3. Big play for the Eagles on the 32-yard line of Nanuet. Handoff to Williams, right up the middle, wide open. Mark all the way down inside the 10-yard line. Dennis Lozado, the quarterback for Nanuet, and safety, making the touchdown-saving tackle on the 10-yard line.
That was good for 19 yards, Len. What was it that Pete was saying about Williams doesn't look too good today? Tell us about Williams, Pete.
Well, I didn't say that he didn't look too good. I said that he only had 3 yards and 4 carries. Mark's an explosive type ball player, and if you give him an opening, he's going to get yardage, whether he's having a good day or a bad day.
Nanuet calls timeout. What we really have to do, though, on that play, Chris McCrory and Vinny Caparasso just opened a huge hole. Handoff to Burrows. Burrows keeps pushing and digging, gets down to about the 7-yard line for a pickup 3. Rich Butler on the tackle. And Joe Baranero. And we have timeout, Golden Knights.
We'll be back with more Eastchester Eagle football here on Eastchester Government Access TV Cable 35. Okay. We want to mention here that the yardsticks, Ray Flood, Mr. Z, that's Mr. Zumar, and Chris Tito.
All right, as we resume play, Eastchester has a 2nd down. They can get a 1st down without a touchdown. They're on about the 7-yard line. We have no score with about 7.5 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. Williams off right tackle. Dropped around the 5-yard line after a pickup of about 2 yards. Tackled by TJ Ford and Joe Baranero.
I think the most effective thing for Eastchester to do now is try to get something that's going to get to the corner, some type of blast, a 47 blast, or something that can attack that corner, because Nanuet just has not been tough on the end so far today.
Okay. Mark Williams coming out of the game for this play. Butch Burrows in at tailback, Zangaro at fullback, and Morgan at halfback. Handoff to Burrows, stopped at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Tom Furlong and Mike Brennan stopping that play. And Eastchester facing a 4th down and 5 on the 5-yard line. Critical play, calls timeout to try and decide what's the best play to come up with.
Please support the Eastchester Volunteer Ambulance Corps Building Fund campaign. That's EVAC, and you know what a great job they do if you've been anywhere around Eastchester, Bronxville, or Tuckahoe. Please make your donations to EVAC, Post Office Box 482, Scarsdale, New York 10583. Better yet, if you would like to join EVAC, contact them at their non-emergency number 725-0900. Donations, P.O. Box 482, Scarsdale, New York 10583, and it need not be millions. It could be thousands, even hundreds, $10 bills, whatever. They need all the help, and they do such a fabulous job that they often not get mentioned, certainly don't get mentioned enough.
Okay, as play resumes, we have just over 7 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. No score, and a critical 4th down and 5 for the Eagles. Esposito at quarterback. Morgan in motion. Pitch to Williams, and he stopped at the 5-yard line.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, he had it. They had an extra card.
Number 59.
Tackle by Tom Furlong, and the Golden Knights will take over 1st and 10 on their 5-yard line.
Good call.
Yeah. I think Eastchester, that was a good call trying to get to the outside. I think Williams just gave up on the play a little bit too early. Mickey Morgan was in motion. It gave them a 3-on-2 blocking advantage with the ball carrier also, and I just think he gave up going inside a little bit.
Okay. 1st down and 10 for the Golden Knights. Denny's Lozada, a quarterback, rolling out behind the blocking backs, and he's dropped on the 6-yard line for a gain of about 1.
5 on the carry. 76 and 42 on the tackle.
Tackled by Andrew Petrillo and Ray Flood for Eastchester. 2nd down and 9 for the Golden Knights.
2nd and 9, Nanuet. And around their own 5-yard line.
Handoff to TJ Ford, hitting the middle, picks up about 2 yards.
55 and 60.
Chris Hayes and Frank Versace makes the tackle, and Ralph Zingaro helped out on that play. So the Golden Knights face a 3rd down and about 7, maybe a long 6.
If you take your eyes off of the ball carrier on Nanuet for a minute and just try to watch your offensive line, it's really telltale why they're not getting any yardage. They're on their knees before the plays are even developed, and that's why Eastchester's getting great penetration.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Okay.
45 on the carry. 42, 75.
Andrew Petrillo in on the tackle, stopping Rob Spilotras, who really gained all that yardage on 2nd effort. He was stopped at the line of scrimmage with no blocking, as Pete had indicated, and then picked it all up with just 2nd effort all on his part. So the Golden Knights are facing a 4th down. Back deep for the Eagles. For punt return are Mike Morgan and Butch Burrows. Golden Knights punt. Not a very good one. Goes out of bounds on the Golden Knight 45-yard line. First bad punt of the day for the Golden Knights. So Eastchester will put the ball in play. 1st and 10 on the Golden Knights 45 with about 4.5 minutes to go in this half.
Thank you, Len Inzio. We remind you, you're watching Eastchester Government Access TV, Cable 35. This program is being produced and directed by Mike Morgan, who advises us that we're building up to a full winter schedule. We will have basketball, both men and women, and we noticed, in fact, both coaches are here, Jerry Hancrow and Stan Koska, and we'll also have hockey from Ride Playland.
Okay, Eagles putting the ball in play. 1st and 10. Morgan in motion. Fake to Morgan. Counter to Williams. Picks up about 3 yards. Dropped on the play by Rich Butler.
Better do rose fever.
Mike Marone bringing the play in for the Eagles.
Mike Marone replaces Hank Burrow, who's an Eagle offensive lineup.
And that is the 4-minute warning. We have 4 minutes left to go in the first half. Scoreless first half, a lot of action back and forth. It seems like the Eagles have been dominating.
I'm going to have to talk to Mr. Sullivan about it. This is the other guy who wants to dinner. I see him out there. Mr. Sullivan, I told Ciceri already, he don't do nothing. I'll talk to Sonny.
Okay, the Eagles come to the line of scrimmage facing a 2nd down and 7 from the 42-yard line of the Golden Knights. Mike Morgan in motion, fake to Morgan, counter to Williams, stopped at the line of scrimmage by Rob Spilatris. That'll actually drop for a slight loss, and it'll be 3rd down and 10 for Eastchester.
We want to remind you about Rose Fever, and you can buy those roses from the Eagle Sports Club, who are selling roses for their scholarship fund, and they're $10 a dozen, and they would be picked up here on Saturday, October 29th for the homecoming, starting at 9 a.m. See a club representative at the field or call 961-4717.
Okay. Eagles facing 3rd and 10, slot right, Morgan in the slot, Marone spread right. Pitch to Burrows, going the opposite way, turns the corner, ball is fumbled, out of bounds on the 28-yard line. Making the tackle, Rob Gallagher for the Golden Knights, but that looks like it's enough for the first down, and the Eagles have 1st and 10 on the 29-yard line of Nanuet.
15 yards.
That was an excellent call by the Eastchester offensive minds down there. They went away from the monster man who was blitzing, which, like we said before, the Nanuet corner men, the defensive ends and the outside linebackers just are not doing the job. And when you go away from that monster, it just opens it up.
That was a 15-yard gain for Burrows, and he's leading the game in rushing with 59 yards so far in this first half. There's a pitch to Burrows going wide the other way. That was all blocked up. Tom Furlong and Mike Bohan making the stop on Burrows for a 5-yard loss. And that's the first Eastchester running play to lose yardage today.
And that's because they went back to what we just pointed out that they shouldn't do. They tried to run outside to that monster man side, and 59, who is Furlong, just made really an excellent play. He just has to stay there. When they're in that monster defense, they have an advantage because they have 4 men on only 3 blockers. So he gets to go one-on-one with a running back 9 out of 10 times.
Okay, Eastchester will put the ball back in play. 2nd down and 15.
I was wondering why that name Furlong sounded familiar. We did Nanuet's soccer game against Eastchester. It must be a brother because they had a Furlong on the team too. And I hope the Eagles punish Nanuet in football the same way they did in soccer. Well, they maybe not punish him, but just beat him and make sure we keep this winning streak rolling.
Well, we all know who Jerry Fishoff is rooting for today. We have timeout on the field for equipment repair, and now play will be resuming. Eastchester has the ball on the Nanuet 33, 2nd down and 15. Butch Burrows wide to the left, Mickey Morgan in the slot. Esposito calling the signals. Back to pass. And the pass blocking breaks down as the monster man, Tom Furlong, helped by Mike Hussey, finally closed down and sack Esposito for about a 5 or 6 yard loss, bringing up a 3rd down and 20 for Eastchester. Pete, I keep turning to you when we have these 3rd and longs, and don't to give you an easy job. What do you think will happen here?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to put it up in the air. I mean, I don't think you have to be too much of a genius to figure that out. But the thing that's giving them trouble offensively throwing the balls, and Nanuet is just staying in that zone. They're putting Anisi, who, like we said before, is listed as a quarterback, double up on Butch Burrows on the split out, and it's just taking away all the passing game for Eastchester.
Eastchester in the slot left, Burrows at end, and Morgan in the slot. Esposito back to pass, throwing long, looking for Burrows. Great catch on the 10-yard line by Butch Burrows. Dropped there by Chris Anisi. And Eastchester calls timeout with what appears to be less than a minute to go in the first half.
We were just talking about how they double up on Butch Burrows, and that time it seemed like they went away with it. They brought the corner in to pick up the tight end, and they kept that kid Anisi one-on-one with Burrows, and that's just a mismatch.
That was a 25-yard pass play, the first completion for Esposito in this game, which kind of speaks for the tough defense that Nanuet has played up till now.
All right, Len, Pete, which one of you are going to tell me what's a monster man? Pete, Lenny points to Pete.
The monster man is simple, which I should have explained it before. It's just the odd linebacker. There would be in a 5-3 alignment, and they just bring up one odd linebacker, and his responsibility is just to go to the power of the formation, and that's his only responsibility. Normally, you just make your best linebacker the monster man.
What does it look like there? About 57 seconds left in the half? About 57? Okay, there's no score in the game. The Eagles in red, knocking on the door against the Golden Knights, and so far there's no score as we're in the closing minute of the first half. Len Inzio.
That is the unofficial time. The officials on the field have the correct time. Our estimate is that there's only about 50-some-odd seconds left in the half. He's just has a 1st and 10 on just outside the 10-yard line.
That's single. Because he doesn't know what he's doing. Look at this, they're running like crazy. One-on-one.
Burrows splitting wide to the right.
6-5 goal line, man-to-man.
Esposito back to pass. Esposito running with the ball, and a completion for what appears to be a touchdown to number 20, Ray Lubrino. However, there are flags down on the field, and it appears to be against Nanuet. Eastchester will decline, and we have a 10-yard touchdown pass from Esposito to Ray Lubrino.
Lubrino gets the credit for the 6 points, but Esposito makes the play. His agility and his mobility back there. Furlong came up, the monster man, who probably his responsibility is just to shadow him. He came up, and he just can't run with Larry Esposito, and he just made the play all on his own.
Okay, Ralph Zingaro will be trying the point after. Butch Burrows is the holder. The kick is up, and it's good. And Eastchester, with less than a minute to go in the first half, breaks the icing, takes off on top, 7-0.
Okay, as we come back up the field on Eastchester Government Access TV, Cable 35, you've seen the Eagles jump out on top and score only the second TD against Nanuet this season against their defense. Next week, we have Pelham, and that's a night game at Mount Vernon Memorial Field. Along with Len Inzio and Pete Archiello, we'll also have Bob Everett, Dean of Referees of Westchester County. The following week, Byram Hills, and that's our homecoming. In addition to the homecoming game, we will have an extended program, and we will bring you excerpts from the class of 1958 reunion, as well as, and hopefully, if we get our technical work all set up, a little girls volleyball for the Eastchester Eagles.
Ralph Zingaro will be kicking off for the Eagles. He will be kicking off from the Nanuet 45. Pete, can you explain why?
Well, because on the touchdown play was a personal foul on Nanuet. Normally, any other defensive penalty would just be declined and touchdown to be accepted, but a personal foul cannot be declined, and it has to be assessed, and it's assessed on the kickoff.
Well, I think Mr. Zingaro is kind of pumped up as they kick that ball all the way through the end zone.
On the 45, they're 45.
So it'll be a touchback, and the Golden Knights will put the ball in play with about 40-some-odd seconds left in the first half, starting from their 20-yard line.
And let's give a lot of credit today to our expert spotter, Mr. Vince Caparasso with the big binocs, the big guy with the big binocs. Vince Caparasso, our spotter.
Okay, the Golden Knights come out, 1st and 10 on their 20-yard line. Lozado At quarterback, pitch back to T.J. Ford, stopped after about a 1-yard gain.
77 and 75.
And Vin Caparasso in on the tackle on the bottom, and Chris McCory finishing it off. Pete, you're right. We're seeing a lot of tackles by the defensive linemen. Most teams you count on your linebackers for most of your tackles.
Yeah, especially in Eastchester's defensive scheme. But if you just watch Nanuet's offensive line, they're giving away everything. They're on their knees before the play develops, and Eastchester, with their strength and their power, just going right by them.
Maybe the last play, Len.
Dropping back to pass, Losada follows the ball and falls on it on his 5-yard line. And
72 on it.
in on the play for Eastchester, Frank Versace and Joe Ciafone, as the first half comes to an end with the Eastchester Eagles 7 and the Nanuet Golden Knights 0.
That's Siobhan. Okay.
You're watching the Eastchester Marching Band under the direction of Mr. Joe Ranello in its salute to the 1950s. And they've just played Everything's Coming Up Roses. What's next, Ralph?
As part of our tribute to the 50s, the Eastchester Marching Band will play one of the first songs from the rock and roll era, Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets.
Okay, and while we're waiting, we want to remind you about Rose Fever. The Eastchester Sports Club, an outstanding organization, president is Tony Del Vecchio, is selling roses at $10 a dozen, which is a tremendous bargain, with the proceeds going to its scholarship fund. The roses will be given out during homecoming, or are available for pickup at homecoming at the field, beginning at 9 a.m. on Saturday, October 29. A club representative who can be found at the field is our club representative. I'll get there right on the plural and singular. Club representatives at the field are selling roses at this time, or call 961-4717. And of course, we will be here for the big Byram Hills game. Byram Hills, number 3 in the state, at Eastchester for Eastchester's homecoming, and we will have an extended telecast featuring, amongst other things, the class of 1958, that makes it their 30th reunion, and girls volleyball. The band is playing in the background, again, under the direction of Mr. Joe Ranello, and you are hearing the voice of Ralph Albanese, who is our PA announcer, and they're playing Rock Around the Clock. Halftime score, Eagles 7, Nanuet Golden Knights 0 on our Eastchester game of the week, with the Eagles going in on a pass play from Esposito to tight end Ray Labrino with about 50 seconds left in the first half, and what has been a real exciting game, although low scoring.
Our tribute to the 50s, the EHS Marching Band.
As usual, a big crowd here today at the Jarvis Bowl, and why shouldn't it be? It's a beautiful afternoon, temperature around 65 degrees, bright sunshine, beautiful weather, and we will be back shortly with the start of the second half.
In the second half between the Eastchester Eagles and the Nanuet Golden Knights, as the Eagles scored right before halftime to go ahead 7-0. Co-captains are going to the center of the field. At the beginning of the game, the Golden Knights won the toss and deferred to Eastchester, and Eastchester elected to receive the ball.
15 times, it might get fixed by next week. By next game, if you announce it. Yeah, now keep announcing it. By next week.
Nanuet will receive the ball to start the second half, and Eastchester will be kicking off and going from our left to your right. Okay, and we're going to resume with the second half kickoff. Nanuet will be receiving. Eastchester will be kicking off, going from his left to his right. Pete, any comments about the first half?
That the touchdown at the end of the half is going to loom big in this game, not just score-wise. It brings back a little bit of deja vu for John DiArco. He was the defensive coordinator in 1981 in the Class B Bowl Championship against Nanuet, and he had a real good defensive call on, and they threw kind of a Hail Mary pass last play of the first half, scored a touchdown, took the wind out of our sails. We went on to lose the game 14-8, and that's always in the back of his mind whenever he plays this team, and I'm sure it was in the back of his mind when he got a little bit of a revenge by scoring that one at the end of the half.
Okay, kicking off for Eastchester will be Ralph Zingaro. Back deep for the Golden Knights are TJ Ford and Chris Anesi. Squib kick along the ground. Anesi goes to pick it up and misses it. He now picks it up on the 15-yard line. Breaks loose. And he's got clear sailing. 40, 50. He's going all the way. 85 yards for a touchdown. Chris Anesi of the Golden Knights.
Say what it means to start out a half that way.
Chris Anesi of Nanuet.
Eastchester had a very good first half offensively, gaining 35 yards passing on 2 pass completions and on 22 running plays, picking up 113 yards. The leading ball carrier, Butch Burrows, with 54 yards in that first half. Well, we now have a 7-6 ball game, and the Golden Knights are going to go for 2. They're lining up for the 2-point conversion. Denise Losada at quarterback for the Golden Knights. Unbalanced line to the right. Man in motion. Losada rolling left. Looks like it's a run all the way, and he is in for the 2-point conversion right at the corner. And the Golden Knights break out on front, 8-7.
Tough way to start the second half, Pete.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't know if Rob Zingaro just missed the ball, but with his leg, there's no reason why he shouldn't be kicking it downfield. Nanuet is not a speed team. They have not burned them in the first half at all with speed. I don't understand why not kick it down the field and try to pin them. You kick that squib kick, and it takes the guys out of their lanes going down on the kickoff, and that kills you. And once they come out of those lanes, there's just nobody, there's no safety valve there. And on that extra point there, that's a good call by Nanuet. I don't really know if he actually got in. I think the defensive man may have knocked down the cone at the corner, which indicated to the referee that the offensive man had hit it, but I don't know if he got in. But anyway, that's a big score for Nanuet. We were just talking about how you take the wind out of somebody's sails with a score at the end of the first half. You do that on the first play of the second half, and it does the exact same thing.
Kicking off for the Golden Knights will be Tom Furlong. Back deep for Eastchester, Mark Williams in the middle, flanked by Mike Morgan and Butch Burrows. Ball coming down to Williams, taken on the 9-yard line. Fumble. Ball is loose around the 31-yard line of Eastchester. And preliminary indication is Eastchester may have recovered the ball. Yes, they have. Butch Burrows, number 33, recovered the ball. So Eastchester will put the ball in play, 1st and 10 from their 31-yard line. Eastchester finds himself trailing for the first time in the game after dominating most of the first half by a score of 8-7. We have 11 and a half minutes to go in this third quarter. Burrows wide to the left, Morgan wide to the right. Handoff going to Williams, trying to go over left tackle for no gain. Stopped by Rich Butler and Rob Spilatris.
This is a big series for Eastchester. They come out up 7-0. They kick the ball off. They got an unfortunate play, and now they're down by a point instead of having that little 7-point cushion. They have to get a first down in this series just to take a little bit of momentum away from Nanuet. When they get up on you, any team gets up on you, emotion plays a big part in this game, and that could really haunt them.
Esposito in a quarterback for Eastchester behind Joe Luciano, the center. Quarterback sneak, and it breaks it for a 15-yard gain. The tackle made by Mike Bohan. Big play. Just mentioning Joe Luciano's name there, the center opened up a huge hole there that Esposito was able to run through.
Did you get number 3's name? Number 2 is number 7?
Yeah.
Number 3 is number 7. Okay.
44 yards. 44.
That brings Esposito's yardage to 44 yards rushing so far in this game. First and 10 for the Eagles on their 45-yard line. Handoff to Burrows, stopped at the line of scrimmage by Tom Furlong. That's that monster man blitzing on that play, Pete.
Yeah, that was really a poor offensive surge by Eastchester. The tackles nor the guards got off the ball. Furlong came on the blitz, and he just made the play.
Second and 10 for the Eagles.
Alvar Lee checking into the Eagle lineup at left end, bringing in the play. Mickey Morgan split wide to the right. Lee goes wide to the left. Another quarterback sneak. Esposito picks up only about 3 yards on that play.
53 and 31.
Tackled by Rich Butler and Rob Gallagher for the Golden Knights. We'll have a third down and about 6.
This, with the score 8-7, it's a good character test for Eastchester. They haven't been down yet this year, haven't trailed in a bowl game. It's been pretty much easy sailing. Nanuet, on the other hand, lost that one game early in the season by a touchdown, the only touchdown they had given up coming into the game. And this is going to be a big character test for the Eagles.
Big play, third down and 6 for Eastchester. The slot right, Marone wide, Morgan in the slot. Handoff to Burrows, trying to run the middle, and dragged down by Rob Spilatris after a gain of about 4 or 5. We're going to have a fourth down for the Eagles and 2.
Gain of about 2 yards on the play. 4th and 2 for the Eagles.
Back deep in what appears to be punt formation is Butch Burrows. Dropping back, TJ Ford for the Golden Knights. No pressure on Burrows this time as opposed to the ones in the first half.
Put it in the corner. Get at the ball. Hurry up. Atta boy. Very good.
Nice kick down to the 5-yard line where it is down by Mike Marone. So the Eagles with a 43-yard punt down to the 5-yard line.
You're watching Eastchester Government Access, TV 35. This is Jerry Fishoff. Len Inzio is bringing you the play-by-play, and Pete Arciello, the expert commentary. Pete, does that surprise you that they didn't go for it?
Oh, for the first down?
Yeah, I'm sorry, for the first down. I thought for a minute Pete was speechless and didn't know the answer.
I was just a little bit confused. No, it doesn't surprise me at all. You want to pin them. Eastchester's forte this year has been defense, so they want to get on defense. They want to get that momentum back a little bit.
Lozado still at quarterback for the Golden Knights. A handoff, running the middle. Rob Spilotris carries the ball for about a 3-yard gain. Tackled by Ralph Zingaro and Ray Flood. After pickup of about 2 or 3 yards, it's hard to tell from our angle here.
Second and 8.
Unbalanced right, line right, fumble on the ball. Rob Spilatris fumbles the ball, and Eastchester has recovered the ball on about the 9-yard line. Number 54, Rob DeLeo coming up with a big play for Eastchester.
Getting back to what Jerry said about going for that on fourth down, there's a reason why you don't do that. You don't give the other team the ball with a lot of time on your side of the 50. You pin them, you play defense. That's what Eastchester's done all year. They've played tough defense, and that's just another sign of that.
Hey, Len Enzio, I'm glad we brought this guy along. This Pete Archiello really knows his stuff.
He certainly is the expert. Okay, Eastchester first and goal will go from the Nanuet 9-yard line. Marone flanking wide to the right. Esposito under the center.
24.
Handoff up the middle to Mickey Morgan, getting one of his few carries today. Mickey hasn't been used too much. Picks up about 2 yards. Tackled by T.J. Ford and Rich Butler.
It's only his third carry, 4 yards.
Let's go.
With about 6 minutes to go in this third quarter, the Eagles have a second down and goal to go from about the 8-yard line, trailing by a score of 8-7. Eagles go into a slot left. Morgan goes in motion back to the right. And there's a pitch to Burrows, trying to go wide to the right. Turns it up, gets it back up near the line of scrimmage for about no gain.
52 and 53. Yeah.
Tackled by Joe Baranera and Rich Butler.
That's the same play that ran to Mark Williams in the first half, where Mark gave up getting to the outside and cut it back up, and they didn't get the first down. Nanuet held him. This is the same situation here. Eastchester's trying to get to the outside, which obviously is not easy, but they're just giving up on things a little bit too early. They need to be a little bit more patient. This is their first real gut check of the year, and they got 2 more downs to get it in from about the 8-yard line.
Third down and goal from the 8 for the Eagles. Power I right formation. Unbalanced line right.
22.
And Mark Williams carries down inside the 5 to the 4-yard line.
52 and
Brought down by Joe Baranera and Tom Furlong. The Eagles will have a 4th down and goal to go from the 4. And we have a timeout by the officials for equipment. One of the Eastchester players has lost his shoe. And now Eastchester has called timeout to discuss this critical play.
I didn't get your soda, but we can share one.
You still running, Mike?
What?
Remember, this game will be on cable TV every night this week, Monday through Friday. I'm not sure the exact times. I believe most nights it will be on at 7 p.m. Check your cable listings for the exact time. Pete, what do you think Eastchester has to do here? They've got a 4th down and 4, and they're trailing by a point.
Well, I think more of the burden is not on Eastchester's shoulders as it is on Coach Conklin and Nanuet's shoulders. Eastchester's done a real good job getting to the outside, so that's an option. Their other option is going with an unbalanced line, which has been successful, which just means that the weak side tackle shifts over to go on the strong side of the field, and it just gives you an extra blocker there. It's only 3 yards. Eastchester's a bigger, stronger team. I think they're more inclined to go with that unbalanced situation and give the ball to Burrows or maybe Morgan and just try to power it in the end zone.
Okay, very important play for the Eagles coming up.
right to the flag. He's gonna pitch right to the flag. Williams got 40 yards.
You can watch out for an option here too. Eastchester's gotten to the corner a couple times. They might try to go a weak side option, which they I thought they might do the other series that they had the ball down on the goal line, but they didn't.
Esposito on the center, fake to Morgan, rolling over the left side, and he is stopped short of the goal line.
53 and 86.
Rich Butler, helped by Len DeLillo, dropped on about the 2-yard line. So the Golden Knights defense held, and they will take over 1st and 10 on their 2.
Jerry brought up an important point here. He thought maybe Eastchester would try for the field goal. There's still plenty of time. There's more than a quarter and a half to go. There's no reason why you don't go for that and try to pin them. They're only on the 2-yard line. You just have to play tough defense again.
It does show a lot of a lot of confidence in the defense.
41.
TJ Ford carrying the ball for a gain of about 1. We'll have second down and 9. Tackled by Chris Hayes and Vin Caparasso.
And number 55, Chris Hayes of the Eagles.
It's on the right hash mark, too.
Just want to let you know that our producer director, Mr. Mike Morgan, would have gone for the field goal.
Unbalanced line right for the Golden Knights.
45.
Handoff to Rob Spilatris right up the middle, broke 2 tackles.
72 and 33.
Finally being brought down by Joe Safone and
33.
Hank Burrows in on the tackle. It looks like an Eastchester player is down on the field, injured.
Eastchester Government Access TV, cable 35. You're seeing in the back, at least, of gymnastics coach Gail Ferry. And as we said, everybody's out today. And that was Vince Caparasso. He looks fine.
Vin's been playing a hell of a game. He may even be leading the Eagles in tackles so far today. We've called his name a lot. He's a strong, tough lineman, and hopefully he'll be back in there before too long. Okay, as we resume play, the Golden Knights have a third down on their 8-yard line. Third down and 5 yards to go. Golden Knights lead the Eagles 8-7 with about 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Unbalanced line to the right.
41.
Handoff to TJ Ford. Gets up around the 10-yard line. Stopped by Mickey Morgan.
And 75.
And Chris McCrory short of the first down. Versace was also in there helping out. Golden Knights are going into punt formation, and Eagles put in their punt return defense, going in at nose guard, DJ Inzio, and dropping back deep to return the punt will be Butch Burrows and Mickey Morgan.
Burrows and Morgan are back. Kicking is 59.
Tom Furlong back to punt, gets the ball off. High kick coming down around the 43-yard line. Burrows breaks to the outside on the right. One man to beat. He's all the way in. A touchdown, a 43-yard punt return touchdown.
45 yards about.
3.
43 yards.
Mickey Morgan should really get a lot of credit on that play. You don't see the off-back come up and make a block too often, and he just laid out one of the defenders. And Butch Burrows also made a great play on about the 5 when he hurdled that guy. I think he was looking more for a move, kept his eye on the guy's belt buckle. He just went right over the top on him.
Yeah, Butch did something that you see from a lot of good runners. He moved away from the sidelines. He slowed up as he approached the man, and as the man got close to him, he then took off back towards the sidelines again with his speed. So the Eastchester Eagles have moved out in front by a score of 13-8, and they're going to go for a 2-point conversion at this point in time. Power eye to the right. Esposito calling signals. Esposito back to pass. Throws, and it's incomplete.
Number 20.
Throw to Ray Labrino. It scored the touchdown earlier, but the ball was just a little bit short. And so with about 2 minutes to go in this third quarter, Eastchester Eagles 13, the Golden Knights of Nanuet 8.
Elaine Ferrara has taken over the cheerleaders. Patty Handel, our good friend, is away at a wedding today. But they will be back with us for the Pelham game next week and the Byram Hills game the week after. Well, Pete, the momentum keeps shifting rather dramatically in this one.
Yes, it has, but, you know, you look at the bottom line, it's been Eastchester's defense. They hold Nanuet tight. Nanuet has to punt out of a hole there, and, you know, it's tough to get a good coverage when you're coming out of that hole.
Zingaro kicks off deep for Eastchester. Ball is picked up on the 11-yard line by TJ Ford. Beautiful return, and we see a flag on the play, and tackled by Frank Versace and Rob DeLeo. But we have a flag on the play. Interesting, Ralph that time kicked the ball to Ford, definitely kicking it away from Chris Senesi, who had returned the last kickoff 85 yards for the Nanuet touchdown.
I think it was more a fact that he put the ball up in the air. You know, he has an excellent leg, and I just think he should be able to just kick the ball and not worry about squibbing it and things like that. Like we said before, it takes people out of their lanes, and it breaks down your whole kicking coverage team. And I think they should just stick with having Ralphie kick the ball and let him put it deep.
All right, that was a clip called against the Golden Knights, and that puts them back on their 11-yard line, 1st and 10 from the 11. So once again, they start in the hole against this tough Eastchester defense.
One more score here, we'll be all right. Otherwise, they could win.
Osada rolling out to his left. This looks like a run play. Didn't look like he was going to throw it all. And nice gain, dropped just short of the 20-yard line by Chris Hayes. That was a 9-yard gain. That seems to be about one of the biggest plays that the Golden Knights have been able to run off against this defense today.
Yeah, that's basically the fault of the defensive ends on Eastchester. They're not containing the quarterback in that rollout. You have to cut that rollout off and leave him in that pocket, and that takes that whole thing away. Also, another point, Nanuet does not have a first down in the second half, and they have not even gotten past the 20-yard line.
It won't.
Nanuet with a 2nd and 1. Hand off to Rob Spalats. Spalatstras, stopped by
54.
Rob DeLeo and Joe Chaffone, and Chris Hayes stopped short of first down. It's going to be a 3rd down and 1. Pete, as I remembered, I can only remember one first down for the Golden Knights in the first half. I may be wrong, and that was on a penalty.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They just offensively haven't been able to do anything. They haven't really been an overly explosive team this year. They've been relying a lot on defense, shutting people out. But, I mean, the Eastchester defense is just, this has been the first big game. They had their first big gut check a couple minutes ago, and they really responded.
Okay, 3rd down and 1.
Oh, yeah.
Hand off on the inside to TJ Ford.
72, 41, 72, and 54.
Stopped by Rob DeLeo and Joe Safone, and just enough for the first down. 1st down and 10. So the Golden Knights pick up their first down in the second half. Move the ball out to their 21-yard line. 1st and 10.
Eastchester Access TV 35, and I think, Lynn, we're going to come to the end of, and we have come to the end of the 3rd quarter with the Eagles ahead by a score of 13-8.
Yes.
As we begin the 4th quarter, the Golden Knights will put the ball into play on their 22-yard line, 1st and 10. The Eagles are leading 13-8. Officials are making sure everyone's set before play begins. Handoff on the inside to Rob Spalatris. Stopped by Joe Safone, Chris Hayes, and Chris McCrory in on that tackle. Pickup of about 4 yards on that play. 2nd down and 6. Correction on it. Yeah, Joe Chaffone was in on that tackle.
It's the worst they can do. They're going to throw it. Watch the pass.
Massaro rolling left, and this is a run. He isn't even looking to pass. That's a run all the way, and he is brought down on about the 34-yard line by Chris Hayes and Ray Flood, and that'll be another Golden Knights first down. They're finally beginning to put together a drive.
Yeah, and I think the drive is all coming from that little rollout that we talked about before that Eastchester has to shut down. See, the problem with the Eagles are they play a type of flex defense where Zingaro is the end on that side on that play. His first responsibility is actually the pass, and you saw him getting back into the flat. When he comes back up and tries to contain, it's too late, and they have yardage, and that's going to have to be, they're going to have to make a little adjustment there.
Okay. Unbalanced line right for the Golden Knights. Pitch out to TJ Ford going around the outside, stopped by Zingaro and Rob DeLeo after a pickup of about 2 yards.
Let's recap the scoring. Ray Labrino on a 10-yard pass from Lawrence Esposito opened the scoring for the Eagles, and that was with about a minute left in the first half. To open the third quarter, and Essie returned the kick for a touchdown, and Lozado ran in for a two-point conversion to make the score 8-7. But Butch Burrow, to close the third quarter with a punt return, brought back the Eagles and put them on top.
Lozado rolling to the right, looking to pass this time, and it's overthrown, intended for Rob Spilatris. Incomplete, and we will have a 3rd down and 7 from the 36-yard line for the Golden Knights.
Secondary Eastchester was playing in a zone, but the thing that kind of busted that play up was Zingaro, the defensive end on the offside. He came back, got good penetration on Lozado, and he kind of just had to toss it up. Also, Mickey Morgan had real good coverage, but Eastchester should just stay in that flat zone and have Nanuet more or less come to them in the secondary.
Okay, 3rd down and 7 with 10 minutes to go in the game. The Golden Knights trail 13-8. Lozado straight back to pass, a screen pass to Rob Spilatris, and he picks up 17 yards to the Eastchester 48-yard line. As the 3rd straight first down for Nanuet as they're beginning to put together a drive, their first real drive in the entire game. Ray Labrino in on the tackle for the Eagles on that play. 1st down and 10 on the Eagle 48. Rob Spilatris, I'm sorry, that's TJ Ford, hits the middle for a gain of about 3 yards.
76 to 72.
Tackle by Ray Flood and Joe Chaffone. Second down and 6 from the 44-yard line. Lozada back to pass, long pass, too deep, intended for Mike Bohan, back there on the coverage for the Eagles. Butch Burrows, ball throw just a little too long, and 3rd down and 6 coming up from the Eastchester 44-yard line for the Golden Knights of Nanuet. 3rd and 6 from the Eastchester 44-yard line. Big play for the Golden Knights. They go to slot right. Lozado fakes the handoff, pitches to Rob Spilatris, who is tripped up by Ralph Zingaro. Brings him down short of the 1st down. It looks like we're going to have about a 4th and 4 from the Eastchester 43-yard line.
And Eastchester played that little whirly-bird option really good. They hadn't seen the option in quite a while, I think back until about the 2nd quarter. Nanuet's in kind of a strange position here, 4th and about, looks like it's about 5. They haven't really been too successful with any one thing. I really don't want to guess what they're going to try here, but on defense, I could almost guarantee that you're going to see John DiArco sending at least one of the linebackers.
Well, there's a timeout on the field with about 8.5 minutes left, with the Eagles leading 13-8.
Okay, the Golden Knights will be trying to make the 1st down. They have a 4th down and 4 situation from the Eastchester Eagle 43-yard line as they trail by a score of 13-8. The officials are making sure everyone is set before they start the play. Golden Knights have shifted into punt formation. No one is back for Eastchester. They're playing it careful. Poor kick, very poor kick. Lands 15 yards downfield, is bouncing around, and the Golden Knights finally down it on the Eastchester 28-yard line. Pete, we all thought they were going to go for it. What was the idea behind that?
Well, I think looking at Furlong back there, he took a step up. He tried to see a hole. John DiArco didn't bite. He didn't put the team in a punt return or a punt block formation. He just stood in his regular defense, which left Furlong no choice but to kick the ball. The other thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is Rich Conklin, the Nanuet coach. I don't understand why he would not at least put the offense out there, let him get a delay of game at worst, and try to draw Eastchester off, because it looked like it was a little bit less than 5 yards.
All right, Eastchester starting 1st and 10 from their 29 with about 8 minutes to go in this game. Esposito's pitch out to Burrows, and beautiful block. Burrows is still going. He may go all the way. Morgan, the last one with a chance, and it's no 71-yard touchdown. 71-yard touchdown for Butch Burrows for the Eastchester Eagles. And what we have to do is we have to give credit to Mickey Morgan, who made an incredible block to spring Butch around the left end. Great block by Mickey Morgan setting up that play. Butch Burrows has now gained 129 yards in this game today. In addition, he has a punt return of 43 yards for a touchdown. The Eagles are now on top by a score of 19-8. Butch Burrows, the man of the hour, will be holding the ball as Ralph Zingaro tries the kick. Snap, the ball's placed down, the ball is up, it's good, and the Eagles lead 20-8.
Okay, it's not over yet. 7 minutes and 35 seconds left, but Eastchester has somewhat of a comfortable lead, especially with their defense playing as well as they do. And should Eastchester make it to the bowl games, and we're not trying to look too far ahead or even spook them, Cable 3 will bring you the bowl game, and if they don't, we will. So you'll see Eastchester in their glory.
Zingaro kicking off, another squib kicker along the ground, and TJ Ford picks it up on the 10-yard line, turning to the outside and brought down on the 21-yard line by Andrew Petrillo and Ralph Zingaro. Also in there helping out on the tackle, Jason DiGiacomo.
I like that.
Golden Knights will put the ball in play, 1st and 10 from their 21-yard line with about 7.5 minutes left in the game, with the Eastchester Eagles leading by a score of 20-8. Just to remind you, next week the Eastchester Eagles' next opponent will be Pelham. They will be playing at Mount Vernon Memorial Field at 7:30 on Friday night, and we will bring that to you on TV. Number 45, Rob Spilatris, carries the ball for a gain of about 3 yards, stopped by Zingaro and Chris Hayes.
Gain of almost 4 yards on the play.
Right, 7:30, Memorial Field.
2nd down and 7. The Golden Knights come out with a slot right. Lozada hands off to Rob Spilatris, who gains about 1 yard going over right tackle. Brought down by John
67-24.
Dibitetto. And Mickey Morgan also in on the stop. 3rd down and about 5 for the Golden Knights. Receivers flanked wide to right and the left. Man in motion. Rosado goes back to pass. Sets up, throws, and Mark Williams of Eastchester breaks up the play. The pass was intended for number 48, Rick Marzola, but it looked almost like it was more intended for Mark on that one.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused with Rich Conklin, and Nanuet coach. He comes out, he's down by 2 touchdowns now, less than 7 minutes in the game, and he runs dive on his own 25-yard line twice, and then he decides to throw the ball on 3rd down. That didn't make much sense to me at all.
They're going to punt now. Oh, they're going to go for it.
Looks like Conklin may be going for it. He has his offensive team back in, and John DiArco counters with his first team defense. So we're going to have a 4th down and 5, and Nanuet is going to try for the 1st down. Lozado rolling out. Penalty flag on the play, brought down by Chris Hayes.
54.
And Rob DeLeo. Now there was enough yardage picked up for the 1st down, but the signal is holding against Nanuet, and the play is going to come back. Referee Dave Benhack indicating holding against Nanuet. We have a very experienced officiating crew here. This crew of 4 gentlemen have been together for the last 10 years working together. Head referee Dave Benhack, head linesman Jack Leonardo, umpire Bobby Gregorian, and field judge Jim Ritz. That'll bring up another 4th down, but this time it's going to be 4th down and about 16. And Nanuet has gone into punt formation, and Eagles have Morgan and Burrows back to return the punt. Eagles coming close to a possible block. Burrows watching the ball land and now decides to grab it. Takes it on the 44 and goes absolutely nowhere. No return. Dropped by number 28, Damon Armand. So the Eagles will put the ball into play with a little over 5 minutes to go in the game from their 44-yard line, 1st and 10.
And the 5-minute mark, Lenny, is the cue for Pete Archiello to thank the Eastchester Eagles coaching staff. Let us know who they are.
Well, offense is run by Tony Archiello and Joe Luciano. Joe Lucci handles defensive backs and offensive backs. Tommy Richter and Chris Simon also handle a little bit of offense. Tommy Richter, former player, handles the line along with Harry Milano. Of course, John DiArco, the head coach and defensive genius, as he is self-proclaimed. And this is just a typical John DiArco type game. Get a little lead and just love going on defense.
Eagles come out 1st and 10, just short of their own 45-yard line. Pitch out to Williams, going around the left side, turns it back up, picks up about 3 yards before being stopped by Rich Butler.
35 yards.
Williams has 35 yards rushing so far. Alvar Lee checks into the lineup for the Eagles. Quarterback sneak, Esposito running behind the blocking of Joe Luciano, picking up about 3 yards on the play. Tackled by Rich Butler and Mike Hussey. So the Eagles have 3rd down and 4 coming up. That is the 4-minute warning. With 4 minutes left to play in the game, the Eastchester Eagles are on top by a score of 20-8. And the 1 touchdown they gave up was on a kickoff return. Last week in their win against Ardsley, Eastchester's only touchdown was on an interception, so the defense is playing very strong this year. 3rd down and just less than 5 for the Eagles. Esposito back to pass, but it's a draw play to Butch Burrows. Turns it to the outside, and it looks like he's right around the 1st down mark. It's very hard to tell. Knocked out of bounds by Chris Sinesi, and that'll be 4th down and inches. as we look across the field at the markers. 4th down and inches with the ball on the 45-yard line of the Golden Knights.
One more reminder, the Eagle Sports Club is selling roses, $10 a dozen, and the proceeds go to the scholarship fund. As Lenny said, that's the best bargain in town on roses.
Right, that'll be October 29th, Saturday, against Byram Hills, which will be a big, big game.
We'll be here.
Eastchester going for the first down, and Butch Burrows gets the first down, twisting and turning, going for about 4 yards.
Number 3.
Stopped by Mike Bohan.
Third by Mike Bohan of Nanuet.
That gets Butch's total up over 130 yards, by far his best running game this year. 136 yards. Very interesting. Coming into the game, the leading rusher for the Eagles was Mark Williams. Mark has been held to 35 yards, but it seems not so much that he has been held as they just haven't been able to stop Butch, so the Eagles keep going to him.
Butch picked up the slack.
Apparently offside or illegal procedure against the Eagles. Half the team went on one count and half the team went on another account.
I think the running situation with Williams and Burrow is more a credit to the Eastchester depth than anything else. Williams has kind of carried them the last couple of weeks rushing the ball, and it just wasn't one of his games today, a typical game for him. Butch came in and did a real good job. Mickey Morgan has just been phenomenal blocking out of the backfield and from the split end position.
And Mickey seemed to be the runner last week in the rain against Ardsley. However, he hasn't had too much opportunity to carry the ball today. First down and 15, and we have another flag and a whistle.
This time's against them. An encroachment. Encroachment. Let's see.
Against the Eagles again, so we'll have a first down and 20 yards to go. Pete, what would you call on 1st and 20?
In this situation, dive up the middle. Just keep the ball in the middle of the field, let the clock tick off, and get out of here 20-8.
Yeah, we estimate that we have about 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go in the game with the Eagles up by 2 touchdowns. So Pete's advice is to run out the clock as much as possible at this point in time. Handoff to Zingaro, going over the right side, picking up about 5 yards. Brought down by Rob Spilatris. And also in on the tackle, Graham Klein. And Nanuet has called timeout with a little over 2 minutes to go in the game.
We got him? Okay, you're looking at the evac truck, and we can't thank them enough, and we hope that everybody will be very generous and donate to their building fund. A very valuable asset for the town. Building fund, evac, Eastchester Volunteer Ambulance Corps. We thank them very much. League 3A echelon, and Byram Hills also is tied, and Byram Hills today plays against Peekskill, and that's no easy one. Peekskill, as I mentioned earlier, has had 3 straight shutouts since losing to these same Eagles.
Yeah, I think the Eagles scored them in the first game of the season. Since then, they've been a very, very tough team, not allowing any points in their last 3 games. All right, second down and about 16 for the Eagles. Pitch out to Mark Williams, going around the left side, out of bounds, just short of the 45-yard line. Knocked out of bounds by Rob Spilatris. Third down and 12 yards to go for the Eagles, as they'll put the ball in play from the 44-yard line of the Golden Knights. Clear down and 12. Mike Marone split wide to the right, power I formation. Fake to Zingaro, and Esposito follows him into the hole. Picks up about 3 yards. Stopped on the play by Mike Hussey and Tom Furlong. Fourth down and 9 yards to go for the Eagles, and their punting team comes on the field.
51.
That brings Esposito's rushing total to 51 yards today. Quite a few yards for Esposito running. The running attack has been so good today. He hasn't passed too much. However, he has 2 completions for 35 yards. One a big 10-yard completion to Ray Labrino for the first touchdown of the ball game. Eastchester takes a delay of game trying to run the clock down. We have only slightly more than a minute to go on our unofficial clock. So the fourth down will now be fourth down and about 15. Back deep in punting formation will be Butch Burrows for the Eastchester Eagles. Just missed. Blocking the punt, and the ball is down around the 5-yard line, down by
They went down the first time they were
Ray Labrino. Once again, the Golden Knights are backed up. I think that's at least the 3rd time they've started inside their 5-yard line, Pete.
Yes, in the shadow of their own end zone, and just play good, tough defense. The thing that really impresses me today with Eastchester is the character that they showed in the second half. Down for the first time, behind in a game for the first time this year. Really a big deflator on that kickoff return. They came back, scored a touchdown, and then they didn't give up. They didn't just sit on anything. Butchie Burrows came back with that big 71-yard run, and the defense has just been impeccable today.
We've just completed our vote for player of the game, and I think it's a unanimous vote. Butch Burrows, player of the game for Eastchester this week. Golden Knights put the ball in play. Losado dropping back into his end zone, looking to pass. Rolling out to his left. There's a penalty flag thrown. Chris Hayes brings him down around the 10-yard line after a pickup of 5. Looks like we may have a flag in the end zone. Also helping out on that tackle was Chris McCrory.
mentions Willie Spinelli is in.
Going in on defense at Eagles, Willie Spinelli. Eastchester is accepting the penalty, which will move the Golden Knights back to about their 1-yard line.
You're watching the cheerleaders and the Eaglettes. Mike Morgan doing an excellent job on the camera. And we told him to look at the girls, and we want to get him back to the boys now. Mike, back to the boys. Mike, back to the boys.
Mike knows his priorities. Mike, our director, producer, and cameraman. Jack of all trades. Slot right for the Golden Knights as they put ball in play, first and 15 from their 1. Long throw, Hail Mary pass, bad throw, and who would you believe but Butch Burrows pulls the ball down on the 35. He may run the clock out on this play the way he's going. Finally goes down on the 34-yard line, and that is the game. Butch ran the clock out to end the game as the Eastchester Eagles with a big win against a tough Nanuet team by a score of 20-8.
Today was certainly Butch Burrow Day. The Eagles seems like they've been taking turns who is going to be the star each week, and today was Butch's week. He had just a super game, and more than that, this is just huge for Eastchester. Getting a big win like this, going to a somewhat of a prime time game next week down at Memorial Field against Pelham, and then getting Byram Hills, they're really looking good.
In the preseason ratings, Eastchester was not ranked at all, and Nanuet was number 2. The way the ratings stand now, Eastchester has moved up to number 3, trailing both Briarcliff and Byram Hills. But in 2 weeks, they get to face Byram Hills head-to-head.
Yep.
Jerry?
Well, John DiArco just got the Bill Parcells soaking treatment as one of the players dumped the remaining contents of the water bucket on him. Well, From Eastchester, New York, a very happy Eastchester, New York. You have seen the Eagles defeat Nanuet by the score of 20-8 in a tremendously exciting contest to remain undefeated 5-0 and on the top of League 3A. For our producer, Mike Morgan, Len Inzio, Pete Archiello, this is Jerry Fishoff thanking you and reminding you to tune in next week for our game against Pelham. And as Pete called it, it's prime